Do we want to do like an intro for our behind the scenes? Action.
All right, first video of 2025, and today we are talking behind the scenes of All Eyes on Paris, our Olympic documentary that we released a couple weeks ago. Background here is purple because that was the theme in Paris. Let's get into it. So first off, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that has already watched the video. If you haven't though, it's linked right here, or right here actually, and also down in the description. It would mean a whole lot if you went and watched it, but to everyone that has watched it, thank you so much, it means a lot. It was a very big project that we worked for a very long time on, and I'm very happy that it's out. I know both Sarah and I talked about it a lot for a very long time, but it means a whole lot that everyone has watched it, and yeah, thank you. So a little bit of background information on this film. We started planning this in the fall of 2023, and this project was over a year in the making. We talked about this as sort of a fun project to do between Sarah and I and document a very special journey that was towards the Paris Olympic Games this summer. So we started filming this project in January 2024 and filmed all the way up until leaving for Paris in July. Just over 6 months of filming, which was a lot. It took a lot of time, a lot of planning, and a lot of balancing. We were filming at races that we were also qualifying at. So we had to be so smart in when we were filming and what we were trying to get. The pressure when we were at races was high. And to also be pulling out cameras in front of people and filming this whole project ourselves, for the most part, we filmed 95% of this film ourselves. We had a little bit of help on that road scene if you saw that. We had some help from Kofi and Liam and Rich in there, which was we were super thankful for because we couldn't have got that on our own. Filming at races is stressful, and we had to be so smart and really plan that out when we were going to do it. We filmed interviews, we filmed actual race footage, and we filmed the lead up to the race. And it's a lot. It's challenging. The mental strain that we were under, just in terms of performance, but also having the doc in the back of our mind, was crazy. And we managed it. We got the doc done. I don't think it ever really distracted us from what the actual job was there. If we didn't get the footage, we didn't worry about it. But it was always in the back of our mind. So one of the most challenging parts of filming this entire process was the interview setups. It's something I hadn't done a whole lot of before. I've done some vlog style interview setups, but nothing very official like this. So since we had trouble last time with the pickleball and the basketball noises at the track, we're trying to film the interview. We've decided this time we're going to film it at home in the living room. New angle for me filming in this room, so gonna have to play with the lighting just a little bit. So let's get this interview all set up. Had to change it up a little bit, but I think I'm happy with this setup. Couple lights, a little accent light in the back, all that to get this. Had to rearrange the entire living room, but so you see, that's the mess that you don't see. There's a lot of pressure on interviews because they take some time to set up. They're a little tedious, and I definitely did get it wrong a few times. There were about 3 or 4 interviews that didn't actually make the final cut, whether they were the wrong information, the wrong setup, or just I made a mistake in filming it. Sorry, James. But to set up a real interview setup and talk to someone and pull questions and try to pull emotion out of them was difficult. And Sarah and I interviewed each other. And to refer to each other as Sarah and Nick in our interview setups was very difficult. And it took a lot of time and planning and what we wanted to ask so that we, 1, weren't wasting time, and 2, got the material that we needed. When it came time to interview our coaches, Franck and Steven, Sarah and I sat there for a couple days back and forth just figuring out what we wanted to do and what we wanted to ask them, because we knew that when it came time to ask them, we had to get it right. We couldn't go back and do it again. We were really close to leaving at that point. We filmed their interviews end of June, I believe it was. So at that point, we were very close to leaving the Olympics. So there was no chance to redo the interview, and we had to get it right. Those high pressure situations, I guess we're kind of used to. I mean, I wouldn't say, it's our own documentary. There was nothing really crazy on the line, but we really wanted to get this right and convey the right story. So we knew what we needed to get, and we wanted to make sure that we had all that from them. All right.
That's a wrap on our first interview with coaches. We just finished interviewing Steven in the gym here. Great setup.
So Franck, Steven, if you're watching this, thank you. You guys were both amazing in the interview process. It means a lot to us. That was one of the biggest things I learned from this entire project was that sometimes you just have to get more than what you need. Like I said, there was so much footage that I could have made another documentary alongside this one. But we didn't know how the story was going to unfold, so we filmed more than what we needed. And I think just from learning this whole process and learning from other filmmakers and YouTubers, they all told me just capture more than what you need because you'll regret it if you don't have it later. So we tried to capture as much as possible, which is stressful, trying to record and back up all that footage and make sure you have it, while also trying to qualify for the Olympics at these races and trying to perform as well as we possibly can. And you can see in the film there were some definite highlights, you know. Milton Nations Cup could not have gone better. But there were also some incredibly low moments in there, and we tried to convey all of that. So one of the biggest things that both Sarah and I learned in this entire process was that planning is everything. Planning out the shots we need. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of run and gun in there and just capturing things as they unfold, but we really wanted to make sure that we had what we needed. I think that was really one of the most challenging aspects of the entire thing, is that we just didn't know how it was going to unfold. We were making a documentary as it was happening, and that was hard because we were the ones living it, we were the ones filming it, we were the ones doing it all. One of my favorite parts of actually making this whole documentary was just the process of making it. It was a very welcome distraction in a very stressful time of our lives. Qualifying the Olympics, like I said, in that film was no easy task, and we were under a lot of pressure all the time. And to have this project in the back of my mind was just like a welcome escape, because I knew that when I was outside of training, I could just focus on something else. I wasn't thinking about performance, I wasn't thinking about how my body was feeling, I was just thinking about something completely different. And I think it really helped in the entire process. Just the overall challenge of making a video like this was something I really enjoyed. I don't know if I'll do it again anytime soon, to be honest, but to have this under my belt and know that I can make a project like this is a big confidence boost going forward, because I've got a lot of plans for this YouTube channel, and to have done a video like this, a little bit more confidence in making big projects. Now, Casey Neistat always says that story is king, and I tried my best to convey a good story, even when I didn't know what that story was going to be. In the process, like I said, it was being captured as it was unfolding, and putting that story together took a lot of work, and I hope I did a decent job. Now, there was someone else who was very heavily involved in making this process, and I couldn't have done it without her. She's a big part of the story and a big part of making the film. So let's go get her thoughts on her favorite and least favorite part of making this video. Okay, so what was your favorite part?
My favorite part about this documentary was watching it at the end. Because honestly, the whole thing was a little bit stressful. Like, sometimes I would just try not to think about the documentary because, like, there was so much stress going on with the Olympics. I'm the opposite of Nick, where it was kind of like a relief for him to have this side project.
What was the most challenging part?
I get nervous in front of the camera, so that was probably the most challenging part of the whole thing. The interviews, the just talking to the camera. I find it kind of like intimidating. And so I think it pushed me outside my comfort zone. But with every interview, I got a little bit better. I'd say there's a lot of challenges. Putting the story together and kind of finding the direction for all the interviews.
What else did you find?
It was hard. The whole thing was hard. Something that we both struggled with was time and place of the camera out. Like, for example, at competitions, in really important training sessions, because our entire team is obviously under a lot of pressure, just like us. Like, we're all under a lot of pressure, and there's a lot going on. And at the same time, we needed to get these shots. Like, they were crucial to make this documentary come together. And so just being like very aware of when we would bring the camera out was something that was on our mind a lot. We just wanted to be mindful of that, because for us, obviously the documentary was very important, but what was more important was our races that we were, having to perform at. And so our performances were number one. For me, it was hard to see the end product. And so when Nick said, let's make a documentary, I'm kind of like, yeah, cool, let's do it. What that looks like, I have no idea. Like, that's beyond me. That is out of my scope of skills and talents. And so obviously Nick was like the creative mind behind it. Sometimes he didn't really know how to like articulate what his vision was, so then it was just hard for me to like see how this was going to come together in the end. Also that like we were asking each other questions about each other in front of each other, so that made it more difficult because it's kind of like we're referring to each other as Nick and Sarah. Like, I know Nick talked about this, but that was kind of weird sometimes, but we got past it, and like by the end it was totally fine. Also realizing how important it is to have such a like you need everything in your environment to be perfect when you're doing an interview in a public setting.
Okay, this is officially attempt number 3 to do this interview. We're getting it done this time. We're at the track again, and we've been promised there's nothing on the courts.
Yeah, hoping there's no basketball players.
Are we confident?
I don't know. That was so difficult, the amount of times we filmed at the velodrome or tried to film and there's things going on and you need like complete silence. So that was a bit of a challenge too, was getting the setting right. Actually we faced that in LA a little bit too. Yeah, so a lot of things that we learned about filming a documentary.
There was a lot of footage, and if you'd asked me a few months ago if this project was going to come out, I wasn't so sure. I started editing this documentary after the Olympics when we were on vacation in Joshua Tree, and I looked at it and I was overwhelmed. I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to put it together. But like I said, we were following a story that was still unfolding. We didn't know quite the story we wanted to tell until we really got into it. There were times I definitely got lost in the edit. I didn't know which direction to turn. I didn't know where to put things and how to make things flow. There were times we both wanted to throw in the towel on this whole project. It was a challenge. But it was a passion project. Something that I knew that if I didn't finish, I would regret every single day. I was so far outside my comfort zone on this one, but I think that's the beauty in it. And if there's anything that you want to do and feel like you're stepping outside your comfort zone or taking a leap, do it. Because in the end, it'll be worth it. This project was worth it in the end. There were times that definitely questioned it, but when it came out, it feels good to have it done. This project taught us both a lot. One of the big ones that taught us was patience, because sometimes things did not go correct. We had to re-record our entire interview in Los Angeles because we messed up the audio. The lighting was terrible. We had to fix it. We had to redo it. And that was very less than ideal coming into a very important race. All right, just wrapped our final hotel interview of the doc, hopefully. Yeah, it's gonna be a busy week here in LA, and had to get the interview done on our rest day. But we're close to racing now. I'm excited, and yeah, hopefully this doc comes together well. I'm excited to share it all with you, and I'll share this behind the scenes with you guys. So let's go racing. Tell me that again.
Huh?
Tell me that again.
I never know what to do with my hands. Your mom's just like sitting so awkwardly. I mean, it is cold, but it is a little cold. It's a little windy.
So trust the process, because good things take time. And despite all of the challenges, when I felt like giving up, I'm glad I saw this one through. So in the end, we've got a very special project we can look back on. And it's even better we get to share all of it with you. So that's it. It's a little bit of behind the scenes, a little background info on All Eyes on Paris. It was a crazy project they put together last year, and I am thankful for all of you that have watched it and supported us in making it. 2025 is going to be a great year for YouTube. I'm excited for it, excited to share all of it with you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being on the journey. Catch you in the next one, which is going to be in a few weeks because we've got some races coming up. See you soon. Okay. Bye.